So basically ये बहुत बड़ा myth है actually. ATS rejection नहीं करता है. And in Swiggy I got rejected at a point.
I'm sending my resume to you. What is that one thing that will highlight and you will stop, okay, this guy?
People just copy from AI. They are not leveraging AI.
You have to have the skill of prompt engineering.
That's true.
It can make you a good cheater, I think.
From my experience, I haven't seen that happening till now. Maybe people haven't thought about it yet. But then what I can say, be in the system for like 2-3 years, that gives like a good career trajectory to you. And then you can switch the jobs. I shouldn't be the one saying this, but then...
Employers are doing ghost job postings on portals.
So there was this candidate who actually negotiated around like 20 lakhs. But then I have seen that there are applications where they have just mentioned remote and then they just tell the people to come to office. That is more like a move to get more applications in, being very true. There is a thin line between negotiation and really doing it respectfully.
So it's like how you deal with rejections. It's important in your dating life and recruitment life. Can you design a 90-day roadmap for that person to get hired in 2026?
So the secret weapon is that...
तो यार अगर तुम ये सब करते हो तो I think you can apply 1,000 jobs in a day. I know half of you watching this have been ghosted this month by some recruiter, maybe your girlfriend, but no. And also, I know your Gmail inboxes have been filled with those mails. Thank you for applying to the job, but unfortunately, ... And आपकी 15-20 लाख की college degree is also some expensive receipt now, जिसकी कोई value बची नहीं है. And have you ever wondered कि all those resumes that we send just go into some black hole and never comes out? To break the myth behind recruitment industry, I have with me Ridhima Chabra. Probably she's rejecting and ghosting you, but she's been in this business since around, half a decade. So she will bust a lot of myths for us today. So starting off, Ridhima, ATS filters are like the final boss of a video game. अगर मेरा रिज्यूमे 3 सेकंड में रिजेक्ट हो रहा है तो क्या इसमें ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन है और इट्स जस्ट AI coming in and kicking me out of the system?
So basically ये बहुत बड़ा myth है actually. ATS rejection नहीं करता है. So लोग सोचते हैं कि ATS में application जाता है automatic rejection हो जाता है, which is not true at all for any other company that's there. Generally ATS is just a filtering system. So वो keywords track करता है, along with that their experience and stuff, ये सब चीजें track होती है. But then it will just sort out the application out of thousands, but it won't actually reject. So generally what क्या होता ये है कि I have just seen this thing that there is a resume जिसमें बहुत सारे अच्छे keywords होते हैं, but then when we talk to those people they are just blank. And then कुछ CVs होते हैं जिसमें बहुत कुछ भी इतना खास mention नहीं होता है, but then जब उसके साथ conversation करते हैं they are super good. So I think mostly in these cases what will help the candidates is like they have to prep up for the conversation that's supposed to happen after ATS. So ATS broken nahi hai and it doesn't reject. So that's the main thing.
So maybe people like see resumes जो Google और Stripe में already shortlist हो चुके हैं, उसको पूरा copy paste करके just they get through the ATS, but after that फिर they fail.
Exactly.
They fail short.
Yeah, mostly यही होता है. वो बात का conversation कर ही नहीं पाते हैं.
So ATS is still relevant, but what happens after ATS is more relevant, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
ओके, तो आप बोल रहे हो कि ब्रोकन नहीं है, बट आजकल 100 रिज्यूमेज अगर रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं तो व्हाट इज द वन थिंग दैट मेक्स यू स्टॉप फॉर दैट वन रिज्यूमे? लाइक रिक्रूटर्स आर स्पेंडिंग 2-3 seconds ऑन अ रिज्यूमे. तो इफ आई एम सेंडिंग माय रिज्यूमे टू यू, व्हाट इज दैट वन थिंग दैट विल हाईलाइट एंड यू विल स्टॉप, ओके, दिस गाय, लेट मी टॉक टू दिस पर्सन?
So I'll tell you a scenario. So there was this CV that I was looking at. We didn't have actually enough talent available in India. So in cases में specifically companies like Stripe, we look for people who know how to just sort out the mess. So we look for experience like we have mentioned in their CV, 0 to 1 experience, or they are building up something from scratch. I think those are the things that really works out. And in case you just mention like things that are just AI copied or just you copied like a Stripe CV, Google CV, those things doesn't work out. So you should actually mention experience जिसमें आपने कुछ किया है, where you have built up things from scratch. Or probably you can mention your experience where आपने कोई project lead किया है जिसमें you didn't have enough guidance given. So these kind of things you should mention as a bullet pointer. I think that's what works well.
And then how does that work? Like if I'm coming from a very small company, very unknown startup or very service-based company that is very generic, and I want to break in some FANG level company. So मैं बिना किसी connection के is there any chance? Or cold applying works? लोग कहते हैं कि networking is very important. LinkedIn पे connections बना के रखो. How relevant is all that, and how can I enter a big company from a small company?
So अभी आपने जो चीज़ बोली like networking, that's very very important. So to really crack or get into a company, like you mentioned, like talk about FAN these days, which is like very famous. But then the only thing is you should talk to recruiters on LinkedIn specifically. And generally for these companies, what happens is we receive like 1,000 applications in a day. But then usme, when we receive an application on LinkedIn where they are messaging with some like good intro, or maybe they are actually talking about their experience, those things really matters a lot these days. So networking is one. And another thing is like be updated with whatever is happening in the market. So randomly job apply karna doesn't really make sense. So you should actually see who is most active, a recruiter on LinkedIn or somebody who posts a lot on LinkedIn must be the one who will look at your messages for sure. So these kind of things you have to look at and then upgrade your skills. You have to just do those things. Yeah.
And I think other than this also, these days I've seen that अगर लोगों का public profile, they have a good public profile themselves. They have been posting a lot on LinkedIn or Twitter or, communities where people are seeing them, especially in the case of tech recruitment. I can tell this, that I have been guiding people that just build some public profile, just do some open source projects, do some freelancing and post about it on your profiles. When you are seen, it's easy for you to get into the places where your resume will not take you, but your skills and your projects will definitely take you.
That's true. Yeah.
So now these questions that we talked till now, these were very 2023, 2024, 2025, maybe shayad inka answer same hi hota. But now very 2026 specific question that I want to ask is like, since LLMs these days, ChatGPT, Claude and everything, they can solve almost any take-home assignment. So how has Stripe changed its interview, or in general, are we back to the whiteboarding era to catch the cheaters? Or like, because practically everything can be done with AI, that is take home assignment.
Yeah. So इसका बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग केस है. Recently हम बहुत डिस्कशन कर रहे थे between stakeholders and the leadership team that should we keep the take home assessments or should we just remove it as a part of process, as AI world is there and people know how to use AI. But then एक चीज यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ी बात है, like people just copy from AI. They are not leveraging AI. That is the only problem. So when we have 10,000 applications in and we have 10,000 written projects in, and usme kya hota hai, it's very easy for us to identify that which application has clearly just copied from AI and which one has just leveraged AI better. So these days, what happens is now we have planned that we'll keep the take-home assessment. That's just another discussion. But then we just look for people who knows how to use AI, but not just copying from them. So, and generally I've also seen like who leverage it better, they have better results in terms of their interviews as well.
Yeah, and like we were talking before this conversation about prompt engineering also. So like prompt engineering is something आप किसी भी domain के हो, you should know how to like prompt the AI correctly and extract the information correctly. Because if you're just typing something and copy pasting, that is not how it works today. Even if you are a recruiter, you are an engineer, you are into sales, you are into marketing, operations, you have to have the skill of prompt engineering.
That's true.
It can make you a good cheater, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think आजकल लोग AI को properly use नहीं कर रहे हैं. If they actually do it, they can do wonders.
And also like, since I am a lot into, automating everything with AI and agentic world of era. So what if I make an AI agent that is there out for me and doing the networking for me? वो मेरे लिए जाके LinkedIn पे, it makes connections for me for relevant people. It sends out cold emails for me. It sends out CVs for me, and it does some initial conversation with me, and also maybe company specific conversations. Like I can make an agent that will send some payment gateway sort of project to Stripe and some OTT platform sort of project to Netflix that I have made, something like that. So as a recruiter, do you value this hustle, or do you see, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you just replicating your work and sending it out everywhere? Why are you using AI? Why can't you just be normal like other people?
Okay, this is new to me. But from my experience, I haven't seen that happening till now. Maybe people haven't thought about it yet. But then what I can say is like, yeah, okay. I think in case somebody does that for me, I would definitely be able to recognize that they are doing it. As again, going back to the same thing that I was just saying, that in case I'm talking to like so many people in a day, and then the conversations that I'm having on like LinkedIn or any other chat support, I can just see clearly that if a candidate is replying or if it's just AI replying back to me. So
वो chat GPT वाला English
exactly.
you can sense it.
Correct. So the only thing it's very easy, but then I think people don't really recognize it that they have to edit what ChatGPT is also saying. And they just directly copy paste. So I can recognize that the language is not like a human language.
That is true. But also I like to like double click on that fact. Like you said, people are not leveraging AI so much. So I would just like to give some example. I was sitting last week and reading some tweet, and a person has made an agent that does exactly this what I'm quoting. So I didn't realize it's not very famous yet until when you said, and I realized, okay, yes, this is something I read last week. So it's not out there in the market, but just an idea, some food for thought for listeners. Like if you want to, double down on your recruitment journey, you don't have to just sit and send resumes day and night to people now. You can use these AI agents like OpenClaw is there, Claude Code is there, and you can make some agentic frameworks on tools like N8N. There are some tools. So what you have to do is you have to tell them to scrape relevant job openings as per your resume. They'll find those job openings. They'll see how the job opening expect you to feed the data. If it's like there are different portals, no Greenhouse, Weekday, LinkedIn. So it will go to those public platforms that lets you upload data, fill out the form for you, upload your resume. If they are asking for cover letter, it will generate cover letter as per that requirement, according to that company and your experience. And you can ask it to be candid and informal also, so that it's not detected that it's AI. तो यार अगर तुम ये सब करते हो तो आई थिंक यू कैन अप्लाई 1,000 jobs in a day. एंड इवन इफ लाइक 10% भी तुम्हारा उसमें से रिप्लाई आ गया, जो कि नहीं आएगा, आई डोंट थिंक, क्योंकि इट्स वेरी टफ टू गेट अ लेजिट रिप्लाई. All you see is unfortunately like you, for which I curse you, and I think everyone curse these guys. But if you guys leverage AI, to like apply to 4,000 jobs in like 4 days, and I think you will get at least 10 valid replies, and out of 10 you can make 3 interviews, and this is all in 4-5 days if you are double clicking on leveraging AI.
True. That's true.
Okay, so moving on, I think the market data that I studied before coming to this conversation we are having tells me that there are some loyalty points in Indian market. So it says that अगर मैं अपनी कंपनी में 3 साल रुकता हूँ, I'm losing 30 to 40% hike compared to someone who is hopping every year. So that loyalty point is being given or not given. वो question है.
So इसके I have like there is always like two sides of a coin as well, right? अब इसमें अगर आप सोचो आप बहुत ज़्यादा switch कर रहे हो jobs के बीच में for getting a better hike. उसमें whenever I look at a CV and उसमें the career trajectory is not looking good to me and the person is like shifting in like every 7-8 months, we generally reject those people, which is very true. And in fact, like whenever I show such kind of profiles to leadership, they also reject the person, as they're also thinking of long term, right? That the person should stay in the system. We are giving them trainings and stuff for a lot of investment is there. But then the second thing is in India market, this is very true as well, that you don't get enough hike. It's 8 to 10% in case you are staying in the company for 3 years and stuff. So I would say there is a sweet spot always, which is be in the system for like 2-3 years. That gives like a good career trajectory to you. And then you can switch the jobs. I shouldn't be the one saying this, but then that's true.
Okay, but I heard something. You said in India market. So what is the difference in India market and international market? In India market, you said 8 to 10% hike. Then what is the difference?
So what happens is, I have seen this thing, I have hired globally as well. So globally, they don't look for these career trajectory and stuff a lot. So when I have hired for people like outside India, they are okay in case they are switching in a year or stuff as well, as kind of their thinking is different. They think it in a way that, okay, if the person is switching in 1 year or something, they always have like better reasons, or probably I have just noted as a reason that leadership doesn't really come back. Hiring managers are always like, okay, it's fine. And then I think their market is even bad than what India market is. So there we don't get enough applications too. So that is another pointer that we can't just reject applications like that. So here we get a lot of applications, so we have choices.
Makes sense. And also, like when people are applying in India versus international, there is a word that comes a lot is remote. Like when they are applying to some high package that is being paid by some European or American company, they'll see that okay, remote job hai, high paying package hai, apply kar deta hu. Or even in Delhi or Bangalore also, they'll see this. But occasionally, I have seen कि after they join, they are like asked to come 3 days to office. Suddenly, it's not remote anymore. So it's remote like hybrid. You can stay in the city and work 3 days and still call it remote. Like, what is this scene? Is it industry-wide same scenario, or is it specific to some location, geography, or it's dependent case to case?
Yeah, so it's actually case to case. With Stripe, I would say we don't do that. We clearly mention it's hybrid for the roles that it is hybrid, and for the roles it's remote, it's remote. But then I have seen that there are applications where they have just mentioned remote and then they just tell the people to come to office. That it's more like a move to get more applications in, being very true. But then the other problem here is that things really change. Whatever happens on the candidate end is very different than whatever happens inside the company. So the problem here is the candidates think that, okay, the recruiters knew about this from the first day, but it's not true at all. I'm taking the recruiter side here, as there are things that changes within the process. So for example, if a process is taking for a candidate 3 weeks, within that 3 weeks, maybe the things have changed. The business has changed. Now they don't want people remote. They want people to come 3 days in office. So there are situations like that too. So could be, if you have faced that, could be that kind of a situation. But then some of them has been like doing it as a PR move.
So considering PR move, I also read somewhere while I was studying about this recruitment market these days that employers are doing ghost job postings on portals. Like if you are applying to some job for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks and not listening back at all, I've heard, I don't know how valid is this, that these are ghost job posting just to keep their name hot in market, so that later when they want to hire, their name is already there. They already have people who were trying to apply and their name was there. Because if you are not there in the list of jobs that you are searching, your name is not in the top of your candidate that, okay, if I want to apply, I'll apply here. But if you are being seen in that list, someone who gets unemployed remembers, okay, they were hiring. So they come back. But at that point, it was a ghost job posting. So how true is this?
Unfortunately, it is true. There are ghost applications, ghost jobs as well. But then for the companies that I have worked till now, they haven't like done any such things. They don't have like any ghost job applications. But then the companies who don't have enough application inbound, so if they're not receiving good enough application number, they do such things. But that's where you have to look at few of the details. This is for the candidates who are applying for these roles and then they get ghosted or then they don't get a reply. They should always look for legit email addresses, legit numbers, or I would say the responsibilities or the requirements that are mentioned. They are all actually making sense. So you will see all these applications who just wants the candidate data. They won't be like, they would be something like, you will see that, okay, this is something I can do easily. And you will see we are checking all the boxes that are there. But then that's where the problem is. So the real application will have things that you won't have in yourself. And the one which is fake will just have like things which are very general, maybe just, okay, a bachelor's, good English communication. These are the ones. So you have to identify yourself.
Maybe. Also, Stripe is known for being elite, like they pay highest packages in the industry. So what was the highest package that you negotiated this year? And what was that key skill? What was that Sachit Tendulkar moment for that guy who got in and Mazumdar got left out and he had to come in World Cup, make women win the gold? Okay, that is another thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Let me think through. So there was this candidate who actually negotiated around like 20 lakhs. And obviously like not the base and stuff, but then including joining bonuses, stock units and stuff. And I think around they were able to negotiate around that amount. But then it happens that it comes from a space where they have done a lot of research. It's not just they are talking about their current salary and then asking like what is the range that the company is offering. That's what I've seen a lot of candidates doing these days. But the best thing to do is like look at their own experience and the kind of skills they are bringing on the table. Look at the market trends as well. And then you should talk about it very actively on the call with the recruiter. So the only thing what recruiters hate is like if they're having this negotiation in the first call itself. So the secret weapon is that you are being very mindful. There is a thin line between negotiation and really doing it respectfully. So that thin line, there are candidates who cross those lines as well. So it's always saying in the very beginning, ki, theek hai, we'll just look at how the company's scope is, the role scope is, and we'll talk about it later. So that the recruiter gets a sense कि आप role में interested हो या just compensation में interested हो. Until the end stage, once you reach that particular stage, you can just talk about that in a better way is what I would suggest. So yeah.
And also for my audience, I just want to tell that negotiation is a big factor. And I don't think she would be the right person to tell you how to negotiate with her, because obviously. But I mean, from what I have seen and what I have experienced, I think negotiation is something that you don't learn from somewhere. You just have to do it on the call, and it happens. Like you can't just agree to whatever the recruiter is saying in the first say. Like you can't just say, okay, you're giving me 100 rupees. Okay, I'll be satisfied with 100 rupees. You'll say, oh, I was here for 150 rupees. And then she will say, okay, fine. I was not prepared for that, but I can only give you 100. So you go away. So if you say that, okay, I'm going away now, you are causing a lot of trouble to that recruiter, because that recruiter has spent a lot of time and efforts of their employer and their own time in reaching to this stage. So at that point, if you say no to rupees 100, they'll have to give you 120. But other than that, the option that they have is to go to that entire process again and get another guy and say yes for rupees 100. I mean, if you get that, good. If you don't, good for her.
But the only thing to add here is like, when I say there are candidates who just get stuck on the thing that, okay, we just want this particular number, that doesn't work well.
Okay.
So generally we have a lot of options too.
Oh,
Looks like you are a good negotiator, but I think that's another thing that actually is going to help a lot of candidates.
And I think that is the right balance that is there.
Yeah.
Like there's a thread, you can only stretch it until it breaks.
Yeah.
So you can't negotiate that much also.
True.
Okay, so the next question that I wrote for you after my research is that recruiters have a list called passive talent, and these are the people who will not accept your resume but will reach out to that passive talent. So what is this passive talent, and how do I make to the list of passive talent?
So this is something which is very small thing, but then it really makes a lot of impact. And I really want to say it on camera so that people really start doing these things, which is, have you heard of a candidate sending a thank you note to a recruiter or the leadership team or the stakeholders after the rejection? So that is a small thing that can get them added to the list. So it really matters, like, how do you handle rejections? As I have seen candidates who get rejected and after that they are just talking about, they're like rude to the recruiter, they're rude to the system and the processes and stuff. But there are candidates who invested their time, but then they dropped the thank you note. They said like, they appreciated the process. They are the ones who will get added to the list.
Yeah.
So there is a factor called humbleness in every interview process. That's what it shows. So I think in case you want to get added to the list, that's what you need to do.
So it's like how you deal with rejection. It's important in your dating life and recruitment life as well.
Yeah.
But jokes apart, I also think that post-interview word is very important conversation, because from my experience, from what I've seen in tech interviews also, even if you flunk a coding question, if you are doing bad in a system design, after the interview, just think about that problem. If you're curious enough, you will try to find the solution and just tell that interviewer in the DM or email that, hey, that was a great question. I think this is the solution for that.
Yeah.
And if he will find time, he will definitely look at it, and
For sure.
you will leave a mark in that human's brain that, okay, this guy was curious enough that he came after the call to my DM in LinkedIn or email, and he dropped the actual solution. So being curious is anyways a good thing to have. And if you're doing it while your interview phase, might help you later.
That's very true. With this, I remember there was this hiring manager who actually reached out to us stating that there is this candidate who dropped them a message back, and then they wanted us to reconsider and like do a re-interview. So I think these things really matter.
Yeah. And now a thing that bothers me, and I think a lot of people, is that what is the scene with mid-level experienced people? Like everyone wants either a junior who is like coming from a college with 2-3 years of experience, who is happy at a low package because he's not has that much, experience and past big numbers with
Yeah.
him. And then there are people who are already at leadership level.
Yeah.
But then there is, this layer of 10 years of experience, 12 years of experience. So from what I have heard is, they are not so much relevant because they're too expensive for a junior role and they're not strategic enough for a leadership role.
So that's a tough question. I have to probably like think of what exactly is a problem. And then unfortunately, whatever you said is true. Even in fact, like if I look at applications with 5 to 10 years of experience, I have noticed only one thing, which is they don't really work upon upgrading themselves. So the only problem is like the candidates who are sitting at 2 to 3 years of experience, they are hustling. They are maybe they're so active learning about things. They are trying to upgrade themselves. And then they're trying to do things where they can be more efficient. But with people who are at 5 to 10 years of experience, I don't know, maybe they're in a zone where they are just into their daily life, finishing up their corporate work, daily hours that they have. And now once they're back at home, maybe they have their personal life. But then they're not investing any time in really doing something except the work that they are doing. So I think that's something that brings them down, and that's something they should start doing.
Yeah, I mean, so I am very much into this world, but still I don't like this word called corporate because I think once you start associating yourself with that, you will stop working after 6 p.m.
Exactly.
You will just shut down your office laptop at 7 p.m. and say, okay, I'm not going anywhere now and I'm just relaxing and I'm not caring the world finishes or whatever. I'll just spend time with my family. That is okay. But I mean, in some days you have to hustle harder than other days. And that brings out the real value. Like, you keep scratching that gem to make it a diamond. So you have to keep doing that once or twice a week or thrice a week.
Yeah.
So you have to keep learning new things, be curious about what you do. Either you are in a sales job or a marketing job or an engineering job. Just keep seeing what is the pattern, how other people are falling short. What is the new trend in the industry? How can you automate your work is the new thing that everyone is doing in their 5 to 9 after 9 to 5.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So I think if you keep doing that, you will never be relevant for any job.
exactly. So true.
Okay, so one final question before we move to the fun part of this podcast
Oh, okay.
is that if someone wants to lose their job today
Okay.
and उनके बैंक बैलेंस में पैसे नहीं है and they are in urgent need of getting paid say in next 90 days. So what is that most aggressive thing they have to do when they wake up tomorrow morning? Can you design a 90-day roadmap for that person to get hired in 2026?
Okay, 2026.
Yeah, because I think everything changed in last 2-3 years.
That's true. Yeah, totally agreed. I think networking, it's like people really underestimate networking. I'll just give you my experience. It's an example when I was a fresher myself, and I think I can now talk about that openly. So I was in Swiggy before Stripe and other companies. And in Swiggy, I got rejected at a point and I was very sad. And then I literally started dropping messages to all the recruiters that I knew from Swiggy. And then I still remember I had messaged like 100 people in a day. And then I got a response from one recruiter finally. And then definitely the process happened and then I was hired. But then the main thing here is that you have to start networking, start dropping messages to people on LinkedIn. That's something I have seen works out well. And that person who has like no bank balance, should maybe start upgrading themselves. I think with that, what happens is, even if you are sitting at like just 2 to 3 years of experience, if you have a way to make things efficient, and I think in any other company that you're going to step into, they are looking for people who are going to bring down the number of hours a work is taking specifically, and then you are showing your efficiency also. So upgrading, learning, doing the courses, and really practically investing that knowledge as well really works out well. And then I think in case they are doing these two things specifically for 90 days, they'll definitely land a job. And the other thing that I feel is very important, which is people apply for jobs just randomly. They don't look at the responsibilities or the requirements as such. So you have to see that, okay, which job is more relevant to you, and not just randomly applying to 100 jobs that are there.
Yeah, I think that's very true. But one other thing that I would like to add is people really underestimate the power of asymmetric returns. Like the process of applying is very symmetric. You think you will upload 1,000 applications on some portal, you will upload resume on that 1,000 applications, and you will get selected to some, and then you will be hired. That is fine. You say you network, that is also fine. Go to LinkedIn, send requests, get reply. But I think that is a pattern of symmetric returns. I read somewhere that asymmetric returns are the things that you do unconscious in your, that you did not want to get a job, but you got a job from a place where you did not think about it. Like you attended some event, there was some conference happening, you attended that conference. There was some meetup in your friends happening. You went to that meetup, you talked to people. There was some founder sitting there who wanted to hire. He really liked your personality. You went ahead with that person with a conversation, you got hired.
Exactly.
Maybe there was some role open in that other guy's company who was sitting on that table. You went to that meetup, you got hired. And also, you have to post content publicly is very important. Not content, like you don't have to dance in front of ring light. So the content that you have to post is something relevant to your, industry where you want to get hired. Like I can speak about tech. You have hundreds of problems to solve right now. I mean, look around you. I mean, we are recording a podcast, right? How many podcasts have you been binging since last Monday? 15, 16? Do you have any takeaways from them? Do you have notes? Do you have those hit lines from them, the mic drop moments for you that you heard? Aha, that's the thing I wanted to hear. Do you have notes of that? No. You can build an app, just drop YouTube links, just add the timestamps, fetch those for you, make that a podcast journal for you. Just publish it on your profile. You build something.
Yeah. So I, with this, I just remember there was this candidate, right, who just posted on LinkedIn. Nobody told him to do so. And then this was regarding Zomato's design.
Oh, yeah.
So he got hired literally with an advertisement. So I think he was a fresher, and that's how he secured the job.
But I think that's the, guide to achieve things in this generation.
Yeah, that's true.
Now comes the fun part of this podcast. You might get some angry DMs for disclosing the numbers that we haven't been disclosing till now.
Okay.
But guys, we have a recruiter on the table. We have to get that 60 LPA word out of her mouth.
Oh God. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can. So now, before this podcast, I reached out to some people who were looking for some jobs.
Okay.
They had their profiles, but they were not sure how much market value they have. So I thought they were the right candidate for this. I asked them their profile, and now you will tell me how much should they be paid.
Okay.
Profile number 1, a 2025 grad, not from any NIT, IIT, but a solid tier 2 college. They have zero formal work experience. They have built a production-ready AI agent that automates customer support for a local D2C brand. They know Python, vector databases, AWS, and can deploy stuff on any cloud network. So what is the budget for this guy?
Okay. So they are not just a normal fresher. They are like an applied AI engineer. So probably around 22 to 25. Yeah.
That's huge. Like I was thinking something like you will say 5-6 LPA based on service-based company level, but skills over degrees any day.
Yeah.
Then profile number 2, he's a 6 years of experience guy, spent 5 years in traditional Java environment, but last 12 months he's been pivoting into, architectural designs of LLMs, and they can make messy databases searchable for AI. and he's a very good guy in terms of tech, but he has a 90 to 100 days notice.
Okay. 90 days notice is something that people would think that I would hate to hear, but that's not true. In case you have skill sets, hiring manager will fight for you. And I think for this person specifically around 45-ish to 50-ish. And in case they have competitive offers, then more.
Oh, that's huge. So did those numbers shock you? Because honestly, it shocked me. But if you guys want, a roadmap, a 90 days roadmap that can help you get a job in 2026, and believe me, it's not same as the previous years, I and Ridhima will sit down and send it to you in your email. So just comment AI Roadmap 2026 in the comments with your email ID and we'll send you this. And definitely you'll get hired in 90 days, not 9 days. See you later. I'm Shubham Seth signing off.